Hi everybody, this is Ma'am Sheena and I am going to discuss overview of human behavior and organization. Okay, so in this lecture, um uh, you can turn on maybe the English generated captions since I am going to discuss in English and some of the examples are in Filipino, but still at least makatulong sa inyo. At the same time, this is just a disclaimer that I am using my phone, just a screen recording, ganyan. So, you may hear noises of the electric fan, of the noises outside of the environment. Okay, so please bear with me. Let us start. So, in this module, you're expected to number 1, define HBO. Number 2, define OB. 3. State the benefits of studying OB and relate ethics with OB. Okay, when we say OB, please know that it is organizational behavior. HBO is human behavior in organization. Okay, so this is the table of contents. Human behavior versus organizational behavior. The second part is actually the benefits of studying behavior. 3. The history of OB. And 4. Ethics and organizational behavior. Let me just share this quote from Harold Ginen. Every company has two organizational structure. The formal one is written on the charts, and the other is the everyday relationship of the men and women in the organization. Okay, so as you can see in this quote, we have two forms of organization, the formal one and the informal one, as we have discussed in Management 101. I hope you can still remember that. Okay, first topic is all about human behavior and organizational behavior. Okay, what is the difference between the two? First, human behavior refers to activities that human beings possess, which is influenced by factors such as thoughts, feelings, emotions, culture, attitude, values, ethics, and authority. These factors in turn affects the performance of an individual, personally, and in an organization. Human behavior in organizations is more appropriately referred to as organizational behavior. Okay? So, organizational behavior and human behavior in organizations can be used interchangeably. Gets? Human behavior in organizations and organizational behavior can be used interchangeably. Okay? So, in an organization, you will have interactions with other individuals and you have to contend with the organization itself. Your behavior in an organization is organizational behavior or human behavior in organization. That is why that is the course title of this subject. Okay? And at the same time, as you can notice, the other books or the reference books, ang title nila organizational behavior instead of HBO. So, pwede sila. Okay. Organizational behavior is a systematic studying discipline which involve in describing, understanding, predicting, and controlling human behavior in an organization where they work. So in OB class, there are 3 levels of analysis that are used. Number 1 is the individual, second is group, and the organization level. Okay. I think I think majority of our discussion in human behavior and organization revolves in the individual level. Pero meron din tayong group and organizational level. Okay, ang individual level, syempre yung mga motivation, personality, ganyan. But the group level talks about the teamwork, communication. The organizational level talks about the organizational culture, politics, and negotiation, just like that. Okay. So, what are now the goals of OB? I think this was included in one of the quizzes. Okay, so you have to choose everything. Actually, that is a tricky question because you have to choose everything because these are all the goals of organizational behavior. To explain behavior, to predict behavior. Third is to control behavior. Fourth is to describe behavior. Fifth is to understand behavior. And five is to influence behavior. Okay, as you can notice, the words that were used are very much related. For example, to explain, to describe, to understand, diba? These are all related. However, pag yung to control or to influence behavior can be regarded as one, and pati yung to predict behavior. So, class in organizational behavior, we can predict using these concepts. You can predict the behavior. For example, if ganito, bibigyan mo siya ng bonus, it is expected that he will be performing better. Ganyan. So, that is predicting. How about controlling? The use of rewards. Okay? Yan. To describe, to understand, to influence behavior. So, isa-isa natin yung malalaman sa mga susunod. Okay. I know it's better siguro na naging estudyante ko na kayo dati. At least na-imagine nyo kung paano ako mag-discuss. I'm really having a hard time, but syempre kakayanin natin. So, unlike sa first years kasi, when I discuss, I cannot establish na ma-imagine nila ako in person. So, please, I need your imagination. Use your imagination to think of me discussing really in front of you. Okay? Next, what are the elements of organizational behavior? We have actually 5. First is people. Number 1, our organization won't be able to function without employees working in unison. Okay, as you can see in management, hindi lang sa HBO, the people or the human resources are really important. As you are taking up also human resources management now, malalaman ninyo na you know that people are really important in an organization. The internal social system of the organization is composed of people, consisting of individuals and groups. An individual is a member of a formal that can be soon member of an informal group. Okay, if you can remember our discussion on formal organization and informal organization, the difference between this is yung informal organization, these are your group of friends, ganyan, colleagues mo na, close mo, ganyan. Pero yung formal organization, ito yung may hierarchy. Okay, na siya ang boss mo, siya ay department head mo, ganun. Okay, the second one is structure. This element describes the way tasks or jobs are being divided and coordinated among the employees in a certain organization. So, there are different types of positions for doing nice in an organization. As you can remember in our Management 101, the structure can be related to organizing or staffing, which is a function of management. Okay, next is, of course, your technology. As part of the modern world, technology plays a vital role in different aspects and institutions in our society. Technology is an integral aspect of organizational structure as it supplies knowledge, resources, and equipment, which consists of buildings, devices, machines, and work processes. Technology affects the efficiency of employees working in an organization. Okay. Of course, especially now, technology is really an integral part of an organization. Usually, di ba, nagkakaroon na tayo ng teleconferencing, telecommuting, or work from home na puro online lahat, ganyan. Okay. Next is the social system. A social system is the pattern series of interrelationships existing between individuals, groups, and institutions. So, a social system class it is something that determines organizational work environment and from which the organization can operate. Okay. And lastly, the environment. It refers to the workplace or forces outside the organization that potentially affect the organization's performance and productivity. Okay. Going back again to Management 101, there are 2 types of environment, your internal or your microenvironment, and the external environment or your macro environment. So, this is the same term. Okay. Second, very generous says. Okay, second, what is the essence or what are the benefits of organizational behavior? Okay, number one, it contributes to personal growth. Okay, as an individual, it is beneficial that you know how to manage or cope with the tasks that you are to perform in life. Knowing your particular interests will affect your performance in a workplace, and so having a knowledge on organizational behavior is a chance to achieve personal growth. A person who strives to know himself better is entering the realm of interpersonal intelligence. Okay, how does OB contribute to personal growth? Okay, because when you understand the concepts of OB, you will understand yourself better. For example, in terms of your personality, how do you react? How can you motivate yourself in studying, for example? Yon. So that is personal growth. Okay, actually, OB, this is really my favorite subject. This because it's really relatable. As in, para siyang psychology. Kaya ma-enjoy nyo to kasi it's very psychology yung mga concepts niya. And at the same time, class, OB is something na very interesting. It's because you can use it in everyday life. When I took my master's, nung undergrad, nung college pa lang ako, na-take ko na siya. Pero nag-masters ako, tinake ko ulit siya. And yun naman, mas more on the application side. So, pinag-share kami, ganyan, on how do we apply this in our organization, in our workplace, ganyan. At alam nyo, it's very, very life-changing. If you are a boss or a manager, if I would to recommend, talagang isasuggest ko that they will have a crash course in OB. Okay, ganun siya ka-importante. So, as we go along with the semester, makikita nyo kung bakit siya important. Okay, 2. Give discernment on how formal group and organization behave and perform. In an organization, it's good to have a developed interpersonal skill in order for you to easily deal and communicate with other people in your organization. You should always know how an organization works. So, ibig sabihin, when you enter your workplace, alam mo kung paano nag-work yung mga tao doon. I mean, paano ba nagkakaroon ng organization? Or, ito, I should follow this because ito yung isa sa mga values ng organization, ganyan. So, yon. You know how to react, you know how to behave. It's because alam mo kung ano ang mga theories or concepts behind that. Third, enlighten you regarding aspects which will motivate employees. Okay. So, syempre, all of us really want to be a boss, di ba? Hindi man boss, a manager, ganyan, or a head someday. Okay? So, ibig sabihin nun, if you want to achieve something like that, kailangan mong malaman how do you motivate your people or even ma-apply mo rin sa sarili mo kasi how do you motivate your members. If you're just a member, you need to motivate them so that you can do the job. Okay. 4. Help gain you an insight in establishing a strong foundation in trusting relationship among the employees in an organization. That's right. Okay. Using the concepts of organizational behavior, you will know what is the best foundation of an organization, how can you build trust. So later on, these are practical applications. Okay. Next, help gain an insight in establishing a strong foundation and trusting relationship. That is done pala. Okay, next tayo. Give leaders, especially those in managerial positions, understand the motivation tools. Yes. Perfect yan, as I have mentioned earlier. Okay. Next is acquire perception and how one can control and able to manage the factors that affects behavior of one individual in and out of workplace. one of the goals of organizational behavior is actually to control. Okay? So, how will you motivate, or hindi lang motivation how will you make sure that your employees are working or are performing good or performing well? So, yun yung mga isa sa pag-aaralan natin dito. Okay? And yung last is helps develop people's skills. Yun. So, you will know how to actually interrelated lang sila, as you can notice. But you can actually develop people's skills because makikita mo how people behave in an organization. So, ibig sabihin nun, you know how to react, ganyan. Ang isa sa mga favorite ko dito, just spoiler sa mga susunod, and I hope we can tackle that if we have time, yung tungkol sa mga negotiation skills. This is one of the topics that I really want kasi very applicable talaga sa mga tao, or how you can tame, or how you can, kumbaga ang example ng negotiation is how can you convince your boss that you need pay, or you need pay increase, ganyan, increase in pay. Yun, so isa yun sa mga favorite ko. But people skills are really important kasi when you understand yourself, you understand other people too. Okay, the next one is actually the history of OB, but this will be tackled in the next part of this discussion. I'll see you.